Hi everyone and welcome to the very first episode of True MSP Talks. I'm Tim Rooks from True MSP, and what this is all about is it's a series of short videos we're putting together to help small to medium businesses with their IT systems. So along the way we're going to be looking at new products, we will be demoing new products, generally talking about business IT systems and giving businesses hints and tips and security hints and tips, which is one of the things we're going to be talking about today. With the idea being that we're going to help small to medium businesses get the best out of their IT systems. And to kick things off, today we're going to be talking about two-factor authentication. So let's get started by talking about what is two-factor authentication. Basically, two-factor authentication is just a second way of authenticating you when you log into something. So for example, if you have an online portal that you log into, that you would use your username and password, which might be your email address and a password, you log in with those details and then you get access. With two-factor authentication, there's an extra challenge there. So once you've logged in using your username and password, it will then ask you again, usually using your mobile device. It will send you some sort of a code, like a text message to your mobile device with a code on it, which you have to put in, or it might send you an alert to your mobile device that you have to authorize, and then it will let you into the portal. So that's what two-factor authentication is. And the reason why you want two-factor authentication enabled is basically because it's more secure. And specifically, as I said, we're going to be talking about Microsoft 365, which is the new name for Office 365. So if you think you've still got Office 365, it's now called Microsoft 365. And we recommend that you should have two-factor authentication enabled for Microsoft 365. The reason for this is that it's such a popular product and used by so many businesses now around the world, it's unfortunately become the subject of phishing and hacking. I'm not going to go into detail too much about hacking, ways of hacking and that sort of thing today, but basically Microsoft 365 is very susceptible to phishing attacks. And basically what that is, that's where you get an email into your inbox that says something along the lines of your account's been compromised, or you need to reset your password, click on this link to reset it, or someone sent you an important document that you need to read, so click on this link to access it. And when you click on the link, it will take you to something that looks very much like the Microsoft 365 login page, but actually it's not. It's a fake page. You put your credentials in, and then basically what happens is you've basically just given your credentials to a hacker. So then they can take those details, log into the real Office 365 portal as you, and then cause all sorts of havoc. They can log into your emails. If you use OneDrive and SharePoint, they can get access to your data, and then they can do things like start sending emails to your finance team to say, pay this supplier using these bank details, that sort of thing. That is unfortunately quite common these days. So one way to get around that is to enable two-factor authentication on Microsoft 365. It doesn't cost anything to switch it on. You just switch it on and start using it. And how that will work is you log into the 365 portal, and then when you get to the 365 portal, it will ask you again for some sort of code from your mobile device, or if you can set it up like we have here, so it just sends an alert on the phone and we click approve, and then that logs us in. And what it stops happening is if a hacker does get hold of your details, when they go to the portal, they can't log in basically because they need this authentication off your phone. There are certain ways apparently that some very sophisticated hackers can get around it, but it's a lot more difficult to log in if you have two-factor authentication enabled. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to very quickly give you a demo of how this works using my own mobile phone. So I'm just going to get onto the screen. So here's the Office 365 sign-in page. I'm going to just quickly log into this. So I put my email address in. Then I put my password in. But now, rather than logging me in, it's going to send me an alert on my phone, which hopefully you can see. So that's the Microsoft Authenticator program that we use. You press that. I've clicked approve, and now in the background you can see that's now logging me in to the Office 365, or sorry, Microsoft 365 portal. So it's as simple as that to use. If your MSP or your IT team hasn't recommended that you get this switched on, then we would highly recommend that you do get this enabled. Particularly if you don't want to enable it for everyone, then certainly enable it for your finance and accounts team and also the directors of the company, because they can often be targeted due to the information that's out there on things like Companies House and stuff like that. It doesn't ask you every time you open Outlook when you're at your desk. It doesn't ask you to go through the two-factor authentication, so it's not a complete pain. It only really asks you when you go to the portal, which is how a hacker would do it. Every now and again, every few weeks or so, when you go into Outlook, it will ask you to re-authenticate using two-factor authentication, but it will just pop up the box and ask you to authenticate, and then you'll be good to go for another few weeks. So it's really, it doesn't cause any problems to use it, but it really does add an extra level of security to your Microsoft 365 system. So I hope you found that useful and interesting, and please look out for the next True MSP Talks, when we'll be covering another subject on IT for business. In the meantime, lots of businesses are now getting back to work and coming off the furlough scheme, and people are going back to the offices. So hope everyone stays safe out there, and I hope everyone is able to get back to work and get things going again. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.